we look at it, right, what was the at least the wars around the Spanish Inquisition about? They're about a similar thing about people in the East cutting off the people in the West from from trading with the East, right? Or people in, I guess, what they call the Middle East, in the middle of the East and the West, cutting people off from making those trades. It's about power and control of the current world situation. Yeah, I think the nukes are sort of a side project or issue. Israel is definitely about the nukes because they don't want to be nuked, but definitely. Are possibly going to destroy some collection of people, especially the more powerful people's economy, which I think is what China is planning on doing, at least in the long run, to destroy that of the West. The consequences are going to be a retaliation.
I get what he's saying. I don't think that the rationale for the war is as clear as you're making it. I think that, Bill Maher said, couldn't all the reasons that have been given be true to Josh Shapiro? And Shapiro said, what he would have done differently is come on the front end and be really clear. And I think the administration has not done that. Now, you could say that's just Trump, right? And he sort of acts first. And I remember that in the 2016 debates when they were asking Trump about gun rights and process, with gun rights. And Trump goes, I think you get the guns and give them their due process later. And that's how he thinks, right? It's not, I don't think he has a conception of a constitutional norm. Yeah, that may be the case, but I don't think he understands traditional.
I agree with
conceptions.
You. If I remember correctly, at one point he said that he's the president, he is the Constitution.
He says crazy stuff. There's no question about it. But the point is that he's doing things that have needed to be done for a long time. We should have done this to Iran a long time ago. We tried to, what's the word I want? I want to make a verb out of
appeasement. Appeasement.
Guys out of it. Negotiate. We tried to negotiate about it for decades. We did the same thing with North Korea out of having a bomb. It didn't work. And it didn't work with the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps. They ain't working. Meanwhile, one of the big triggers of this war was the people rising up in January. That was a big thing. And then the fact that all in a sense, a regime change. Because it's not the same, but by the way, it's no longer, run by a religious leader. Now it's being run by, the Speaker of the Majlis, which is their parliament. So yes, the regime has changed. They're in disarray. They're running around it's just weird that the reasons are so clear. The reasons have always been no nukes. And the fact that people won't accept that is puzzling to me. Why can't people say that the reason is no nukes? Everybody knows that that's the case. Why can't people say that, Josh?
Well, it's because they constantly... But they fail to understand that if Iran got a bomb and they wiped Israel off the face of the earth, the truth is, these people who say they don't care about Israel. They don't care about the Jews. They would be happy to see the Zionist genocide state obliterated.
Honestly, that strikes me as a really kind of fun movie. I'd like to do a sort of found footage video within a pro-Palestinian college campus encampment, responding to and witnessing the nuclear detonation of a bomb in Jerusalem by Iran and then I just want to see the conversation.
You call them in to do an experiment, right? You say, oh, we're going to test it. And then you say, well, hang on, breaking news. Oh, we have to stop the experiment.
You think
This is a great idea.
But this would not really matter to anyone who wasn't already sympathetic to Israel. It wouldn't
No,
make
I
any
mean,
difference. And
I
this is a
wanted to
classic
say-
example of these
I
kind
know
of
what you
things
say.
that people on the pro-Israel side come up with and say that is not persuasive to anyone. Okay, and you guys put a huge amount of effort into stuff that just accomplishes nothing.
It's the same thing with Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Absolutely nothing, bro.
It's the same thing with Charlie Kirk's assassination.
It would be damn good television, and I would pay to see it.
Well, politically correct in other rooms on this app after Kirk's assassination, they were gleeful, joyful, dancing, celebrating, screaming with joy. That's the same type of endorphin and dopamine response that would happen if people were informed that Israel was new. That's exactly what would happen.
How long would it be, McFadden? Is he here?
I'm still here, yeah.
What happened to Spot?
You're saying, like, how long do you process that through the thing? Well, you know, I was...
No, how long is the film? Half an hour? 90 minutes? What?
Well, I mean, I was thinking it through as, like, a story, since it would be found footage, it would be, like, roughly 2 hours, like, roughly...
Wow.
So, meaning, you get something like 30 minutes before, and then, like, within that...
No, what you do is you have a group of panelists that hate Israel, and you get them to talk about the conflict for 2 hours, and then you say breaking news: Iran has detonated a nuclear bomb, and then it's a hidden camera show.
They might expect it, though. If we're already talking about Israel, then they're going to know this is a bit of a trick. But if we're talking about something else entirely, then it would come as a shock, so they wouldn't be able. Oh, yeah, we can say before you go in, okay, people have to turn their phones in. This experiment won't allow for any phones.
That's already suspicious, dude.
It is, but you can come up with a reason for that. There's
How
a
many times
test
take
or
your phones
something.
away?
There's a test or something.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you have to think through
So,
the
But it's like, how do you get the right people? And that's where I think you got to come up with. I think a taste test is the right way. We're gonna do
That's funny.
Turkish coffee. It's a Turkish coffee taste test.
That's what.
The other thing I was thinking is you could do something that's like definitely going to bring you college students, or definitely going to bring you Democratic Socialists of America, right? Like, what'll bring you DSA party members?
Wait, actually, I think the World Affairs Forum with Amir is actually already the movie that you're looking for, and I film it every single evening on YouTube.
You film that room every evening?
No, not every evening. Not every, but for a while I was. But it's just, it's so boring, essentially. But he's on, what is it, day 59 or something? He holds the show every day.
And what did they say about the attention for?
I actually don't listen to it anymore. I've out-processed. I'm simply in the recording industry. I don't listen to anything. I just simply record and submit.
You're just a technician. You're an engineer.
Correct. What I don't understand is why, people come in so hot on Trump and say he's a pederast and a cannibal. I mean, are they completely delusional? Like, have you seen any evidence to suggest that he was involved in any of this type of activity? I have not. It's just slander, defamation against our great president.
Obama, are you familiar with the prophecy that the current Pope is the last Pope? The 112th Pope. Are you familiar with this?
I think I feel like I've heard it.
Yeah. So the whole idea is Israel got independent in entire Catholic in US. Those swing states, they don't recognize Israel.
What 3 states?
I mean, there are certain swing states in US. They are full of Catholic, right? They don't recognize Israel.
That's interesting.
So the whole idea is this thing started about 1,900 years ago, and it is this is a blind spot for Jewish because you're not supposed to understand anything of the New Testament and what's going on there. So you have no idea why this hostility toward and that destroyed the current Pope Francis. And so the problem with Pope Francis right now is whether he accepts that prophecy. That means he's the last Pope. That means that is the end of Vatican once he's gone. So that is one way of thinking of it. And because he's the last Pope, the paragraph say correctly, he's the end time Pope. That means he has to accept the fact that during this time there is a lot of tribulation.
Honey, you were pathetic. Just use your voice. You don't need to be a chat warrior.
That means today we just saw Japan get another 7.5 earthquake with a potential tsunami, and they have already we have a contradiction here.
Your grand
Right? He's going around talking about peace
utopia.
in denial that he's the last Pope and it is tribulation. His job is to help people to prepare.
Honey, come make your points about reality, history, and human behavior. Let's hear about your grand utopia.
Enough. Actually,
According
many
to Honey.
churches are failing, right? And so very behind schedule, and everything is written in the New Testament. Obviously, if you are Jews, you reject all this stuff, and therefore it's a blind spot for the Jews not to have a bad.
Hey, Ahmed, mute your mic.
And therefore you don't understand why they are, Tucker Carlson and all these Catholics. Yeah, that is they are brought up in
Do you think that Trump should resign? Number two, do you think that resigning would redeem him? Number three, if you think Trump should resign, why do you think he should resign? Again, you have to look at it from his point of view because it would have to be obviously his decision. All right. Meanwhile,
Norma, I'd like to answer that.
okay, good.
And I want to actually make a prediction.
All right, sounds good. Take it away, Randy.
I'm going to predict that Trump will not resign.
You're sticking your neck out there. Could you want to give us a little more?
Well, A, it's a gut. It's just my gut. And B, I think that resignation, one thing we know about Trump is that he's not a quitter. He doesn't, I think this war, the current war, and I've had people say, "Hey, it's not a war; it's just something, it's something else." Because only Congress can declare one. Yeah, but no, I'm going to call it a war, and he does care about his legacy. He does. I to the point where I think that we hear rumors of like one of the Trump children. I do think that he would love to tidy up this conflict. He'd love to tie it up with a bow, and his idea of a successful war is what happened in Venezuela. They got somebody out, no soldiers died, or no Americans died, and regime change, or he'll call it regime change. That's his idea of a good war. Iran has turned into much. I think Iran has turned into a much bigger mess than he imagined, but I don't think he wants his legacy to be a failed war, because Iran, they're not the kind of people where you can have a ceasefire with them and then they'll go quietly away. They'll be crowing like, "Yay, we defeated the USA, we won." So I don't think he wants that. I think he's going to, he's looking for ways to get out of this is on the list of options for him. I mean,
I think bombs the hell out of the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps and get out of there.
I mean, we certainly have the mother of all bombs. There's more that could be done. He wants to win the minds and hearts could in Ukraine. No, I'd say no. I think they've held back because they still want to win the minds and hearts of the people. Maybe I'm mixing metaphors, but I think he's carefully calibrating it.
Sort of a spiritual redemption thing. I just want to move it around and make sure. There's a lot of people in the room. Does anybody else want to come up and talk about whether Trump should resign? Why? Yeah, I love these too. We love that.
Okay. It would be great if he would resign, but I think Vance has more experience, but I don't think it'd be better. I think all three who are in line to become president wouldn't be better. I think we're in a really bad state right now, and I don't know where we're going to go from here. And if Trump uses the nuclear bomb or flattens Iran, the people in Iran are not going to be happy. Right now, we've killed to the top supreme leaders, but now the IRGC is in charge, and they're far worse. Same way as the MEK would be far worse. So we're really in a
Was a theocracy, the theocratic layer, that's hard to say. The theocratic layer has sort of been eliminated, right? That was the supreme leader and the mullahs. So now we're in a slightly different position. The hardcore, the IRGC. But could you help us to understand what is this IRGC and why is it even worse than where we were before?
Well, I mean, I don't know for a fact because I don't know exactly. I think Arash should know more, but I think a lot of people in the IRGC are not actually Iranians. Neither were the supreme leaders, but they don't give a shit. None of them give a shit about Iran.
Who are they?
They could care less if Iran was bombed.
Are they from Africa?
Just another. They don't care. They don't care about the country. The people do, and the people want this regime to change. They want the supreme leaders gone. They want the IRGC gone. They want their freedom. But I don't.
My brother, nobody wants to use a nuclear bomb because that's going to start a nuclear war in the end of the world. So let's say we stop short of that. But I'm not put you on the spot too, which I apologize for. Gaz, what do you have to?
One, Trump resign. Why would the greatest president in America history resign? That's one. Two, there's talks that he's running a third. If he says it, I believe it. You know what I'm saying? And three, the 2020 election was rigged, and they about to do something.
Okay, if you love Trump, in short.
Yeah, I fuck with Trump.
Now, is it fair to say, may I be so presumptuous to say you might be an American black man?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Zeitgesund.
I'll be a victim all day. What sense does that make? If somebody doesn't like that, then
those people probably cheat and try to cheat during the elections. Why would anybody like closing the borders or just doing what we need to do, fixing Obama's bullshit mess while giving Iran giving Iran money and shit with Hillary Clinton's uranium bullshit.
We didn't give Iran money. We gave Iran the money that belonged to Iran. It didn't.
No.
It went to the government, but it's the money that belongs to the Iranian country.
And I owe you money, and you're talking about you're gonna kill me, right? It wouldn't be best to give you the money, one. And plus the thing you don't understand about this deal is these people got funded back the money. So they paid Iran money, and Iran just paid it back under the table just to pay corrupt government politicians, bro. Y'all don't know what's really going on.
You know what's really going on?
Yes.
I don't know. You don't seem to be able to speak very eloquently. I don't know.
I'm just distracted right now, but if you think that, if you think what's going on a surface level is what's actually going on, you're somebody we call sheep. You guys believe in surface level. You guys always believe in the story you're being told, but have no discernment to understand what's actually going on. And I really, you people should stay out of politics, because when people argue with you guys take some. The way I speak and how she's better at speaking.
Please don't do that. Be nice.
Be mature. But these people always think the surface level shit is what's actually going on, because they have no discernment and judgment to actually figure out why these things are happening, why Trump says the thing he says, why does Trump joke around about Obama and Hillary Clinton being arrested, why does Trump always criticize the deal Obama made with Iran, why? And they think that they think they're told everything. You guys are not told everything, because
we don't know.
I've done my research on things that I know are facts.
It's called intuition.
Yes, I know. I know a lot of things that people, well, I would say you don't know, you just don't want to believe, because the government didn't tell you themselves, right? Or there's not a .org link behind it, So there's a different I wasn't attacking her first.
Okay, Kaz, I know. All right, NPC, non-playable character. Would you like to weigh in, sir? Sure, sir.
Jumo, I am so surprised.
Jumo.
Yeah, I was. How not black is because you don't even sound black.
But I'm not black. Why would I sound black?
Anyway, I'm offended on behalf of Trump because all Trump did is listen to you and your people. He's controlled by you and your people. That's all. And now you want him
in
to
conversation. He's controlled by me.
Yes.
I want $1 billion. Give me money, Trump.
You already have it. If you choose that mission, then who doesn't? Like, he's been doing everything for you.
How do you control him, by the way? What's your theory?
My theory?
Yes.
My theory is that Trump probably listens to people who he's close to, and the Zionist lobby
Yes.
is closer to him than. And they also try to assassinate him a few times, but.
Whoa. So wait, so he likes to do what people who assassinate him tell him to do?
He's afraid of. Donald Trump understands that he's not the most powerful person in the world.
I have a question for you, bro. If the Jews are so powerful, how come 6 million of them were killed? I mean, how do you reconcile that?
That didn't happen, bro. No.
I don't think enough high.
It was
like
No. What's
but-
5 million?
but with a couple hundred thousand maybe.
Yeah. But that was one point in time in a certain country, in a certain society.
Did you think about
So you guys for what you were, and
It happened in about 10 countries, just so you know. You know, the Holocaust happened across not just one country. Poland, Russia, Germany, France, Romania, Hungary.
If you believe that, you're
Jews were killed all over the place. It wasn't just one country.
It's a Ouija board, Randy.
Wow.
We use a Ouija board to control the world.
I mean, you think people would be embarrassed by these to say these things, but they say them.
Randy, he's being ironic.
Yeah. All right, I don't know anymore. What do I know? I'm trying to work, and here I am getting distracted.
Kaz, if you don't think the Holocaust happened, I really encourage you to go to a library today. Go to the history section and find a picture book. It's in the pictures. It's fully documented.
So why do you think Germany been paying reparations or did pay reparations?
Oh my God,
You think reparations? Where's my money?
understand nothing, bro. You guys don't even know why World War II started, bro.
We want reparations from you.
How did it start?
World War II.
How do you start that?
So basically, right? what they're talking about. And you can't say because he's helping not all Jewish people are bad, but the bad people are Jewish, but not all of them are bad, but
Yes, the cause of all the world's problems are the Jews, essentially.
what about Jews? Not every Jew is responsible. You know what I'm
So
saying?
I stubbed my toe yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it was the fault of it. And it still hurts, by the way, and I want reparations for that. All right, Al, what do you have to do? How would you like to weigh in now?
Al, you just skipped over me.
Oh, I didn't see you. You can go next. Al, you want to go? You want Tadai to go first, Al?
I would love.
Getting us back to the topic.
You're welcome. I don't think there's any redemption for Trump. Goes has great ideas, but does not have a plan for completion. Even if we start with the tariffs, if you're going to tax the imports, prior to doing that, you should probably build up the infrastructure so that the American consumer doesn't feel the wrath of your tariffs, pretty much. So
Brilliant. What was your major?
psychology.
Very brilliant. One of the most brilliant analyses I've heard on Clubhouse, period. Keep going, please. You're welcome.
As far as the war in Iran, I just think again it's just a uncompleted plan. I think what needs it should have been like years. People knew that if you were to attack Iran, you would have to deal with the Strait of Hormuz. That was just part of it. So I don't know what could have been done, but I just know that there needed to be a better strategy. And the only thing that I would have to say is that if Israel and America are allies, they both have to be on the same page. And from what Marco Rubio said, the only reason why they attacked is because Israel was going to attack. So before they got attacked back, they attacked Iran. Whatever the PR campaign is terrible, and it's making the American people really distrust government. And when you lose the people, you lose those who are going to put the people in power to move forward with your agenda. So I just think that there's no redemption for Trump. He just needs to rethink his strategy.
Rubio and the Minister of War, Pete Hegseth, said during the negotiations before the war, and that was no nukes, no ballistic missiles, no terror sponsorship, and no attacking your own people. Those, like, you could call them the four no's. And as a person with a larger than average nose, I like that designation, the four no's. And then when somebody said to Rubio, as he was sort of in transit getting off a plane, why now? He said, well, I mean, Israel has reviewed the U.S. Security Intelligence, and Israel thought this was an opportune time, and that if Iran responded, they hit American bases, so it would be better to do it at this time. And U.S. because we share intelligence. So the idea that Israel dragged us, and I think is sort of a misunderstanding of what Rubio said. But the reasons for the war start with no nukes. That's clear all along. We've been working on no nukes in Iran for
thing about North Korea. They said North Korea cannot have a nuclear.
We haven't heard from Elliot.
Can I just comment one thing, Norman?
Comparing North Korea with and Iran are two different balls of understand the difference. Like, we're talking about religious fanaticism. They will murder 40,000 of their own people in weeks to this end. It is not the same.
I'm wrong. Al, I don't disagree with you on this, on some of the urgency. I think, which is all the more reason the messaging is important, because I think in an America that is war weary from Afghanistan and Iraq and is much more skeptical, I think had something like this happened after Iraq won, you wouldn't see nearly the pushback, right? Because after Iraq won, I think America felt really capable in its ability to exert its ability for that to clearly communicate and rally the populace that's, again, really skeptical of intervention. And part of the reason Trump was elected was because he ran as the guy that was not interventionist, right? Twice. And so, and you can change.
Yeah, but Iran has always been on his radar, in particular, and every administration before him.
I'm not denying that. I'm not.
This is brand new. That's the
I'm not denying
trouble.
you've got to be persuasive, and he's not persuasive, and that's part of
I also think there is a faction of people that, I mean, he could end cancer and it wouldn't be good enough. I really do. I mean,
sure, but the level numbers.
But Iran has always been our enemy.
I'm not denying any. I'm not denying any of that. But I'm saying that if this is something urgent, and you're committing possibly the lives of Americans.
That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, you guys know media. That was a little too I thought that after we use the bunker busters, you guys would be happy, but no. After we use the bunker busters, I went into y'all's rooms and y'all were talking about regime change. I was like, what the fuck? So I'm listening to y'all, and you're talking about messaging. What I've understood messaging to actually mean in this climate is, what lie do I need to tell to convince people to do the thing that's not in their best? What lie? How do we lie to make people? There's no lie that you can tell the American people to justify a war that fucks up. There's no lie. any type of messaging that you can use that's going to, because Iran isn't close to a nuclear weapon. We didn't. So what excuse are we going to use now? What excuse are we?
Position of power, though, right? Some position of power right now.
Proliferation of AI, science, and nuclear bombs is all science and knowledge of Islamic terrorists
But nobody understands
can't be allowed to exist.
This is like Americans, not like crazy. This is the missing messages. Why? Because
took over our embassy has been trying to drag us into war from the very beginning in order to, and I will add to this, Dave, in order to bring about the 12th Mahdi, which is like a Messiah, who is the hidden imam. Does anybody want to respond to that?
no, they don't even know what you're talking about, but they want to respond. They don't. That's the problem, and maybe that's the message. This religious Americans are trying to be rationalized. They don't want nuclear weapons. They're not trying to do this bullshit shit. Listen to their own words. They're not lying to you. They admit to having 60% enriched uranium outside reporting agencies.
We got okay. So I am an imperialist as well. I agree with what you're saying, but the issue is that you're so biased you don't even realize that you're lying. That's how, like, that.
What the fuck are you even talking about?
Let me tell you the manipulation that you're undergoing. But you think you're.
So do you think their own words are lying? They're
I mean, can I tell you why?
that's a yes or no.
it for civilian cases. Like if you're enriching up to 60%, the only reason why you enrich up to 60% is to get to more than 60% so you can
Your timeline's off, sweetheart. Your
No, I
timeline.
just want to land. So
Well,
what
you might
if
want to fix
it's
your
Operation
timeline.
Midnight
Fix your
Storm?
timeline.
It doesn't matter what the timeline is.
It definitely
They said
matters.
so. So how are the Iranians? Why can't we just bomb them dead? If they're back at, let's say that they're back to where they were a year and some change ago, or less than a year ago. Okay, let's just bomb them again. Why does it require a ground invasion? Over there for fun, there's about to be a ground invasion of Kong Island. What are you talking?
Let's say it's for bargaining. To let them know that we're for
what? No, but okay, so when I bring up facts, it's, we're not serious. When I bring up the fact
You
that
didn't
she's
bring
right
up
about
any
the...
fact.
No,
Hails as in a meeting, that's how it was a failure, it didn't work.
no,
Is what you're saying?
again. We need to do more.
So why don't we just go again? Why do we have to
We can go.
actually put boots on the ground? Why can't we just go? That's my question, like, why have to have boots on the ground?
You don't have any deal with this, Norm. Goddamn simpleton.
It's all yours. It's all yours.
I don't know how you deal with simpletons all day. Have any sort of intel that is above what the American intelligence apparatus has. Call out facts. Whoever talks as if they have any sort of intel.
I'm just repeating things the same intelligence. I'm repeating back the same intelligence.
Okay, I am muted the room. We're going to go one at a time. NBC, you went. Please, Elle, you take the mic.
We got whole ass people on Clubhouse claiming to know more than outside reporting agencies, which is amazing.
Elle, do me a favor. Don't make any...
Who's a moron?
Never mind that.
Yeah, who's the moron? Anyone who claims to know more, anyone on Clubhouse that claims to know more than outside reporting agencies. You put yourself in that camp, that's on you.
Someone's a moron. Someone a moron on Clubhouse.
Here's what I said. If you can clean the shit out of your ears. Anyone. Based on what?
I mean, yeah, the intelligence agencies did tell us that there were WMDs in Iraq, and they were the source of...
You know, there are also people who actually claim that there were at some point that they were moved, but let's not talk about that.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, there's broad consensus that the intelligence there was wrong. Right?
Is there
No,
nonsense?
No, it wasn't wrong. It was lies. But
Because this has been a problem for decades.
Now, I agree, but if you're the president of the United States, right, and you lead a liberal democratic republic, and part of it,
touchy subjects. We have to realize, okay, now I'm a Muslim. Okay, now I've been practicing Islam since 1991.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. So what now from my perspective, my personal perspective of what it looks like well, okay, go.
All right. Now let him go, please, David. Franklin's mic.
All right with it. But we have to realize that even back in the 70s, it's always been something with the Middle East. It's terrorists. That's a known fact. But we don't see them over here attacking the U.S. It's always someone is invading their territory.
But so-called Franklin, you know about 9/11, right?
Of course I do.
Okay, well, I mean, that was done by so-called Muslims.
Okay, but check this out. Now, and I'm glad you mentioned that.
Cantor Fitzgerald. They're an accounting firm. Interestingly, the former CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald is in the Trump cabinet right now. Cantor Fitzgerald is a accounting firm. You maybe can tell from the name Cantor that it's made up largely of Jewish people. They were on the top floor of the World Trade Center, and they were all wiped out, including the brother of Harold Lutnick, who is now in Trump's cabinet. So it isn't true that all the Jews caused it sick. In fact, Jews were one of the main victims of this terror attack by Al Qaeda.
We should keep saying so-called, Norm.
I'm sorry,
So, but now check this out.
Basically, it's a denial. It's
But what's the point of repeating facts to a person who doesn't operate on facts? That's just
Okay, all right. Now check this. Getting the illegal immigrants out, illegally, because I don't believe.
Eliminate the future prospect of Shiite. And for the minority Shiite, 15% to survive, they have to do all sorts of what do we include? Takia, that means to lie and to tell everybody, I'm not Shia, I'm Sunni. That is point number one. Point number two, they have to prepare for the time when they can totally overcome the 85% Sunni by having this end-time ideology. So this end-time ideology is 1,400 years, and it has been their primary objective to overcome the 85% majority. If you are American, you don't understand this, you will never understand what is hell going on in Middle East, period. And that is the root of
If you don't have the people behind you, it doesn't matter what you fucking say. They're gonna focus on their needs at the time, right?
Yeah, but Xerxes, welcome to America.
Shia, Sunni, but he's talking about what the American people will do and support, right?
But part of gaining support is having the American people understand why we're even there. And that is lacking. I don't know how that gets out. I honestly
You can't influence our
mostly because we are so divided that people was far less supportive of bombing the fuck out of Libya. Why did we do this? I mean, we literally decimated that place. Why? I still don't know. Talk about messaging.
It's not just America, it's Europe too. Right now, you're projecting.
My actual response has
Everybody, because I think it's not something important, but I'd like to discuss it one person at a time so everybody can really be heard and we can think this through together. We'll crowdsource this question. The question NPC raises, please tell me if I have it correct, is the nuclear threat of Iran, which is the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps. So that is the difference between this and Libya, for example. Let's talk about the perceived or actual nuclear threat. Let's go NPC first and then
voted in a person. Americans voted in.
I just want to hear what you said. The more we find out, the fewer would support it? Is that what you
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, keep going. I want
Yes.
to hear that.
So the more Americans learn, the less they support it. And the reason why is because you have to have events that immediately affects Americans for Americans to sacrifice their dollar. American consumers are not going to sacrifice gas prices, energy prices, fertilizer, food prices eventually going up ×2. They're not willing to sacrifice it because Israel wants Iran to have a different regime. They're just not going to do it.
They think that Iran has 60% enriched, and that's obviously weapons grade. There isn't any dispute about that. So the reason for this war is the nuclear threat of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So who wants to go next?
I go quick one. So, all right, when you talk about nuclear threat to the American, you have to talk about two things. The systematic evidence that in order to deliver nuclear weapon to U.S., right? Not as I said before, it's the ideology based on Takiyami's is lying, 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 lying. The only person in Fox News keeps saying that this is a lying Mura regime is General Kane. He always says these people lie. Period. Right? And he don't use the word Takia because American will not understand. He said keep lying. And then Americans say lying, everybody lies. So what's the big deal? Right? So in order to get to America, the Mura regime continuously work with North Korea, use their technology to keep increasing the range. At the same time, lying to the whole world, especially MPC. Whatever truth you say, MPC will not accept it because he lives in other world, his world, right? And he
they are tired of being lied to. So first of all, the whole entire nuclear proliferation thing, that worked last year. And it might be able to work again. We haven't seen evidence of it working. Let's talk evidence. I'm not what I think. We're going to look at the polls. We're going to look at the why the Republicans probably won't win the midterms and the Republicans probably won't win re-election.
Got it. Moderators, I'd like to be put in the queue. This is Alistair. Put me in the queue, please. Independent submission. Thank you. No, I don't. I want to read Winston Churchill quotes about Mohammedan law. Thank you. That will be my submission. Yes, please.
So I'll be very quick. Everyone keeping I'm projecting. Everyone says I'm polling. The one single thing that Donald Trump did to fuck up his base, it isn't lying to them about the Epstein files. It isn't a bunch of other shit. It isn't like deporting a few U.S. citizens mistakenly. I'll give that. It's this war. This war is the single worst thing that he's ever done to his own base in terms of his approval rating with them.
Well, at least
Of the American people do not like this war. It's not my opinion.
hang on a second. According to the polling, this was done by I'm from New York. I don't know if you consider that part of the United States because sometimes we feel different. But I understand the importance of a non-nuclear Iran as an American. All right, so Alistair, it's your turn. Did you want?
Yeah, these are the quotes. These are Winston Churchill quotes about the dangers of Islam. How dreadful are the curses which Mohammedanism lays on its votaries, besides the fanatic countries, improvident habits, slovenly systems of agriculture, sluggish methods of commerce, and insecurity of property exist wherever the followers of the prophet rule or live. A degraded sensualism deprives this life of its grace and refinement, the next of its dignity and sanctity. The fact cease to be a great power among men. Individual Muslims may show splendid qualities, but the influence of the religion paralyzes the social development of those who follow it. No stronger retrograde force exists in the world. Far from being moribund, Mohammedanism is a militant and proselytizing faith. It has already spread through Central Africa. Europe might fall, as fell the civilization of ancient Rome.
Okay, now check this out. So, Franklin, you're up. Okay, so you just read some, my opinion, some racist shit from Churchill. All right, now. Well, it was against the religion, not against the race, to be fair. Okay. The KKK called themselves the Christian Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. So what you got to say about that? They're disgusting people. I think we agree.
Muslims still beheading other people. KKK is the history.
No, KKK is a group of people claiming to be Christians.
People
Claim to follow the Bible.
it is
Claim to follow the Bible and have been killing my people for centuries. Yeah, they're terrible. By the way, the Jews put them out of business with a lawsuit, Mars East.
We're not British. We declared independence, eternal and forever. And as Americans, we are all brothers. And I'm not reading that to try to spread hate. I'm trying to actually frame Islam in the way that Winston Churchill saw it in the Trump as an executive and as a manager was the best option at the ballot box. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz would have been epic failures for global security, American security, and for our well-being economically. They are incompetent fools, and Donald Trump is a superior intelligence to those incompetent fools. I am complete.
Question about the quote that you asked.
Go ahead, ask your question.
You said this was after Mr. Churchill's contact with what and when? Because I'm pretty sure this.
I'll pin the link for you in the chat. There is this thing called Google. You can use your little fingers to type in Winston Churchill quotes.
No, that's cool.
No, that's fine. Alistair, when and where did he say this? It's a fair question. If you know.
I'm putting the link in the chat where I just read it. Please hold.
All right. You're gonna check. Thank you. Okay, he'll put a link in the chat. ahead, okay? So if he's
Okay,
if you want to
thanks.
contribute. What else do you
No,
want
it's
to
just,
contribute?
I mean, it's just interesting to listen. I try not to give my opinion concretely on these kinds of things because I like to city where I rarely have troubles that I have to think about, like especially bombs, right? So I think it can be.
We're coming for dinner, by the way, so please put your
Come on over. But it can be like I think sometimes startling to hear people speak so little control over. I know it's like an exercise of ideas, and I understand that. And sometimes it's necessary.
You mean the Churchill quote?
I mean, like the Churchill quote is, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna wait for Alistair before I make any determinations on what I think that is. But like, statements from like people like Dave who, don't live where I live and maybe are under a different amount of pressure to think about these things versus, I can't remember what the woman's name was who went to a meeting. She seemed to be like very intense about the immediacy in which the United States should handle these things. And I'm a pretty like well studied like media analyst, so that means like while I don't maybe have like the best and most stable like political knowledge like you guys have, I know like I've heard you guys speak about economics and things like this. I do find, I'm just like, I'm listening and I find over the complete exhibition of your commitment to your family, the embrace sexual liberty, this idea of no responsibility and higher purpose to increase your wealth and pleasure.
Islamic revolutionary
And they're seeing us
down the road
collectively as a society. Now we're going to try to consciousness.
Well, there was Dr. Adams. He said, well, you look at me. You're still in the set. Complaining about being able to pay your bills. Well, I have no money to pay. I don't value success that way. I didn't value in my 20s hustling and working really hard to make as much money as I can. No, I focused on I'm gonna have children. And that's what I'm gonna do. When I can do it, I can do it else.
Talking to people who are originally American or even American by some other country.
You can't see any other way to experience pleasure than by earning money or defiling himself. He's unwilling. So, how can you get a good answer from that person? That person is showing you, I can't. How can I experience physical sensations? They have a spiritual realm.
I think the thing that I found most striking was just one of the things I kept like emphasizing was that tough love is often like a last resort when you've already failed as a parent, where you've created such an spoiled, entitled, no work ethic piece of shit that they just take and like you literally have nothing else. Able to help them out to the best of your abilities and not have it stunt their development.
Well, you're absolutely right, Kevin. And what's more is that when you are raising your kid, no matter how, it's not like a pass or fail thing, but your child sees
nuclear weapons,
that
telling
you're
them to
spending
other
your money.
countries.
All right. So have we ever used a nuclear weapon against a non-belligerent country? The way
Well, I mean, even in belligerence,
has said?
Well, so even in belligerence, if it's used, I think historically when weapons like these have been used, there's like a moment, like it's like pulling your hand from fire almost, right?
What you like created is such a. That's why my wife and I have talked specifically that. Like, it's such a boomer mentality. That's why I say total boomer death. Like, these fucking boomers, this is what their children inherited. The baby boomers and Gen Xers inherited this idea. Successful I was able to talk to, I mean, economically and familially, where they had a big family and their family was, visiting them and they all had healthy relationships. You found out that the people with the most money in that relationship were always an older generation that had developed their offspring. They wanted to take the kids, they wanted to take the grandkids, they wanted to treat their children and their partners. They wanted to help them buy a house, they wanted to help them go on vacation, they wanted them to have a better life. And they thought, this is how I fulfill myself in my old age. You can contrast that with the majority of the population.
I'm gonna get a boat. I'm gonna get a boat.
I'm gonna get a boat.
I'm gonna get a boat and I'm gonna go to.
Yeah, a boat. Yes, a boat. Exactly. I'm gonna get a boat, and then I'm gonna get a bigger house, and I'm gonna. And then they wonder why they're left in an old folks home. They go like, I wish I'm gonna speak to folks in old folks homes, and they tell me, I wish my family would come and visit me. And there's this horror story I have. I was at a old folks home, and there's a door that separates the assisted living. Memory care section and the memory care
on tons of like indigenous people
have been diagnosed
and
with
doing like the whole slave trade thing so that they can get like
crime to do killing indigenous people.
but like just follow me here. And then they were like, oh well, we have a nuke and they don't want to stop, so we could just stop and drop it. I think the perspective that a lot of Americans have might be different on this if we had experienced these kinds of atrocities.
How would it be different?
Future generations and thinking clearer about the scale of what is possible, right? And I don't think that the United States doesn't do that.
Which is the tragedy in that sense.
Like Nagasaki, or you know what I mean? Like, so like if that happened.
You're anti-genocide, right?
I'm sorry?
You're anti-genocide.
I mean, as much as I am misanthropic and absolutely hate the fleshbags that are called humans, I am anti-genocide, yeah.
You hate people.
I do hate people, I really do.
I think her primary argument is this. Russia, France, UK have nuclear weapons. This is totally unfair based on every nation should deserve the right to have nuclear weapons. That is
I will say this on this argument, right? I think that we got the Ukraine to disarm, right, with regard to nuclear weapons, based on our commitment to protect them from Russian aggression, which Trump is trying to waffle on, right? And so, and that the Ukraine can't count on the United States to honor its commitment. Because Ukraine would have been in a better position if they had nukes. And so I think that, this is, if we want to proliferate, if nuclear weapons are really a problem, and proliferation is really a problem, then we've made a huge strategic mistake in Ukraine, because we've said basically the best thing for your security is not to
you're 30+ years too late, right? It's been a while since Ukraine has given up the nukes, and that was a strategic flop on their part. Other countries aren't going to make that same flop. Every single country is fully aware that if you're not too big. America bullies and it benefits the people, I don't mind. But I was saying in terms of like the geopolitical conversation, having nukes is really the only way that if Iran gets nukes, which they won't, but if they did, I would be afraid for my life. The entire point of nukes is that you don't have to use them. If they ever use them, they wouldn't exist. And it would be justified. I don't think that they use them. And I'm against that they would. You live in a
Melania, hidden hand Illuminati confirms Trump is married to a European Illuminati priestess.
I'm not even saying anything like that. Like, I'm literally, what I'm saying is a little bit nuanced.
People race.
No, but why when I speak left? I'm not used to being cut off from this room. Like, this isn't like a troll space, so why can't I just finish an idea?
Information.
People don't want to hear you complaining nonstop. If you have a point, just say it.
I'm complaining now. Yeah, that's why I try to do every single time I do it, I get cut off. Like, what I'm saying is...
Let's finish this.
I have no fucking idea.
Dave goes after, okay, Dave?
I support the United States. If I had to choose between Palestine and Israel, I choose Israel, even though both of y'all are on some bullshit. But I don't know what the fuck y'all idiots want to hear. Like, at the end of the day, the American people, they're not in the position to sacrifice their wallet so that Israel can gain more power in the region. American people aren't with that right now. Maybe if it was 20 years ago, sure.
Right. So America doesn't want to do that. America shouldn't do that, and America isn't doing that. Frank, so Dave, did you want to
protect America?
You want to speak a little loudly and more slowly, and try to be very much like logical.
If you wanted to protect America's that. Follow me. Kill the America. They to train the America to, when you argue, start thinking about very creative, alternative world, and so that the truth will not be told to the America. Thank you.
I don't know why it seems like you're attacking the parallel universe that I was describing to Elle. We were having a conversation about how I see things. right?
Couldn't hand Illuminati
And this doesn't
confirmed
actually have to
Trump's
do
letter
with
to
like
European Illuminati
necessarily
boosters.
being indoctrinated not to believe or not to
The war, the reason why they're trying to,
I'm sorry, I can't hear more than one person.
they're trying to legalize it because they're trying to say that the war never ended. So ever since the hostage, in terms of legality, Trump can finesse the legality, but the legality for me is the least interesting part. The reason why they attacked right now is because they thought that the Iranian regime was the weakest it's ever been, because they felt like their citizens would help them overturn the government as soon as the U.S. went in. That's the reason why they didn't go in. They didn't. But Norm, like the whole entire pretense. My thing is that the pretense that you guys are using is a lie, and you don't. It's a lie.
I didn't invade Iran.
No. The pretense that you guys have been.
Hello? NPC, this is called reality, aka politics, where all communication is either projection or politics or it's spam or it's hypnosis. Communication is what we're talking about here. And unfortunately, you have to admit that what you're saying is just opinion. What we're saying is just opinion. I don't believe you can actually even tell us the difference between an opinion and a fact.
And sign this peace treaty and let us come on in and take your resources. But because Iran ain't with that program, then all of a sudden it's a problem. See, the U.S. pick and choose who they want to bully.
Wait, what's the bullying? Which one is the bullying?
The bullying is like I'm saying, so they say that Iran has nuclear capability and they gonna turn it and use it on somebody. Okay, that's fine. But they don't have it yet. Russia already have it and already invaded a country. And they ain't saying not one motherfucking word. So Russia and the US already
never mind. John, you can go ahead and speak.
It's not only the nuclear capabilities that they
Jack!
you can just see now their response to this war. They're just shooting missiles at everybody. So they're very much unhinged. And one of the things that we've always worried about, one of the reasons why the world, especially Europe and America to an extent, didn't want to, because we were actually afraid that they would cut off the Strait of Hormuz. And this is, and from what I've read and seen online, is that most of the U.S. and Israel were shocked in a way that they did that. So the fact that they did that without even having a nuke as of right now is pretty scary. It sets a possible precedent for the future, right? And the fact that, and like, let's be real, we're in this partly because of October 7th. They are setting up not just Israel, but our interests as well, right? They are the reason why October 7th happened. The only reason, the way that they wiped their hands clean is because they didn't know a date. They gave them funding, they gave them knowledge about how to create missiles, they gave them all the spy knowledge that they have. They've been fronting up Hezbollah for 30, 40 years, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, October 7th? Oh, what a surprise. We didn't know. Bad people, they need to be removed. I know the war right now, which is like probably the biggest psyop that they've created with their Lego AIs on YouTube, a bunch of 20-year-olds that prove that have made us think that this is a useless.
No, let him land.
These people want to be removed from the earth. I think it should happen now. And if you just let it happen, it'll happen, and we'll have a little bit of a hurt in our pockets for a while, for a little bit, I think. But these people cannot be in power, and if you could just finish the job. Their own people, they rape their own people, they've been doing it for years and years. They've threatened us, America and Israel and the West for years and years. They need to be removed. And the biggest psyop in the world is the fact that we're even having this discussion like, oh, well, are we losing the war? I don't know, like the Netanyahu. Thank you. Franklin, did you want to interject something? Franklin, I saw you come off before. All right, Dave. Can't hear you, Dave. Much louder. Okay.
I mean, the topic is Trump must not resign until. Sorry. What I'm trying to say is, what John trying to say is, according to the topic here, John want Trump to finish the job, so resignation is out of question. John, is that your?
They're not even showing the destruction, they're just telling you about it. Right? Not this. They're taking away from every problem that we have domestically, right? Affordability, real estate, gun laws, abortion, rights being taken away there. It's all being sucked out because of what's going on over there. So if we were able to finish it and finally put this to rest, we were able to focus on what's here instead of having these conversations that are going circular.
So what do you call finishing?
What you call fishing?
Getting enough time for at least them to be so weak that hopefully the Iranian people there can do something about what they have, or for them to be either regime change, or then they can be so weak that they can't shoot ballistic weapons to Europe, which they can now, and they don't, and they answer to us and the rest of the world. They don't answer to anybody else.
So wait, are you saying like I'm so sorry. Like
Hilarious too. I think it's funny you're laughing.
Did you get that? Did you get that information from me yet, Alistair, or was it in the chat? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Another creative alternative.
Yeah, trying to belittle me won't work, but I just don't know.
Yeah, put the link in the chat.
The part that you said, John, about like focusing on like things that are plaguing America, right? Like finishing this so that we can focus on us, right? Basically.
I think that's what a lot of people are saying, right? Why are we, quote unquote, all of the terms now, giving money to Israel? Why are we going to war? Blah blah blah. Yeah, that's the overarching theme, at least in the podcast world, and where people look at a lot of their information. Right? So that's what if we could just finish what's going on over there, the world could be a little more together, and have less of all these unnecessary but deadly distractions. We'd be able to focus on a little more here, not just kicking the can down the road and becoming more isolationist, and having Russia and China get into the mix, and have Europe fall apart, just because, and have all these other countries fall apart. Let's focus on getting this cancer removed so we can then focus on what we need here. We are a rich country, and people can see that. And if we just get rid of this distraction, this horrible distraction over there, that's obviously that they're taking advantage of the world, then we can start focusing on what's here, not just turning a blind eye and having a mass destruction going on over there.
Okay, but isn't the series? I think. Israel was responding that way. Like there's 2 weeks before Israel responded where everyone was afraid for Israel.
Seventh attack NPC. They were celebrating the chaos, the murder, the slaughter, the desecration of humans, the terrorism. They were happy as could be, dancing in the streets on this app.
Yeah, I was. What the hell? I wasn't finished. No, nigga, I wasn't done. Bro, every time I let me just finish, bro. I'm done. Let me just finish.
I don't into the room one at a time, NPC, and then Franklin, please.
Yeah.
No, I'm preferring that. No.
Yes. So I'm saying that because I remember. I'm an equal opportunist. I remember on both sides. I think it's very incomplete to say they just went crazy. Everyone's afraid. I read. There's a few instances of a straight missile hitting a random building, but mostly they're attacking U.S. assets in foreign countries. That's number one. And then the biggest thing is, isn't there a reason why they're sending so many missiles? What did we do to make them take off the condom and start sending in more missiles? Like, what did we do? Did we, I don't know, maybe every single one of their leaders and everyone associated with them? If any country, if any country, I'm not supporting Iran in this. I'm just saying, if any country 1% of what Iran has suffered, we'd be at nuclear war. If a bomb hit Trump and kills Trump and all of his cabinet, we'd be at nuclear war.
Iran did try to assassinate him. That is a good point.
Yeah, I know. I mean, nukes people from us.
No, we haven't. We only nuked people one time, and that was for a genocide.
Yeah, for us in the genocide.
We nuked Japan.
We nuked Japan because we didn't feel like sending our troops in. That's the reason why we nuked Japan.
Because they were committing genocide across the Indian. They wouldn't care. The government wouldn't care. The military. Okay, well, let me make this point right quick, y'all. America wouldn't care.
So, do y'all remember a few years back when
Yeah.
Like giving Hamas is a matter of yes. Well, let me finish the question.
Israel and Palestine was fighting over the Gaza Strip.
Palestine is over in Judea and Samaria, and Gaza is Hamas.
Whatever, but it was the Gaza Strip, so you know what I'm talking about.
Well, you're talking about Hamas, the terror group. Okay, they shouldn't do that.
The Israel soldiers gunning children down.
Right. Well, if you throw a rock at an armed man, what do you think is going to happen? What would you?
Child.
Yeah. Well, what?
So you mean to tell me
if you throw a child? Wait, if you throw a rock at an armed man, what do you expect him to do?
No, they didn't throw a rock at an armed man.
Yeah, they threw the man.
He was in the tank. They showed us right there.
I just gave you a second. So children in Gaza.
You were saying the whole of John 1, chapter 1 was hyperbole.
You think they're going to take away the
So NBC argument is, what should Iran do?
Hi, I'm going to briefly interrupt. Moderators, I put some links in the chat. I'd like to read them. Put me in the queue. Thank you.
I'm just wondering, how does that mean that the whole thing is wrong? What are you using?
Oh my goodness. Is Jesus
stockpiling missiles?
They've been killing their leaders, a lot of them for a long time, not for no reason, but like to sit here and act like the Iranians have no incentive to have the same thing that other countries have, which is missiles out.
Hi, moderators. Can I get a confirmation that I'll be put in a queue? Moderators, please.
It's not Jesus speaking. This is the author of John, okay? We're not talking about this right now. We're talking about...
Okay, point of order, gentlemen. I'm asking to be acknowledged as if I'm speaking and can be heard.
Is he literally like all things is the created order?
Okay, point of order, moderators. I don't know if anybody can hear me, but I'm asking to read some quotes from Winston Churchill on dangers of Islam. I would just like to speak and interrupt. Unfortunately, I apologize, but I did put some links in the chat from Winston Churchill about the dangers of Islam. I'd like to read them to the room. Would that be okay?
No, just stop, dude. Just stop.
No, you don't have to tell me to just stop. I don't know who you are. You're just a random person on a conference call app. Important information and some very informative information, because I believe that I will be able to persuade you that Islam is a danger, that their religious and their legal code is a danger to humanity, to society, and we should fight back and fully understand what Winston Churchill was talking about when he said Islam is dangerous. The link is in the chat. Moderators, I'm requesting 60 seconds to read Winston Churchill. That's all I'm asking.
No, we're having a conversation. Don't be rude, dude.
This is a conference call app. It's generally for public people. I'm a public person. And unfortunately, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that I can't do it. I can just do it right now. Would you like that? It's not rude. It's what I'm interested in. I think you'll like it, actually. It's not about being rude. It's not about me. It's about trying to provide some informative information. There is this fearful.
Swear.
We're gonna sorry, just
let's be honest. What about the U.S. government? First of all, we have to agree about some terms. Who is terrorist? What do you mean? Terrorist. You know, I don't care. I could destroy your civilization in a night.
Marcia, there are many Iranian freedom-loving Iranian all over the world, all are thanking Trump right now, right? So when Trump made that statement, they don't care because they know when Trump says civilization is the 1,400 years of civilization behind the Murad regime. That is not the Persian civilization. So there are two kinds of civilization. First of all, who want to support Murad regime. When Trump says civilization, it means the entire 90 million. No. When Trump says civilization, it's the 10 million Iranian who are paid by the Murad regime.
So you are a dictionary for Donald Trump. You are trying to I'm sorry. When somebody who's in power actually mix everything badly, screws everything, and then some people who love that person, maybe stupid Donald Trump, some people come and try to fix the problem. No, Trump said that, but he was meaning this. Okay? I'm a human being. I know. I'm talking to you. When you say something, I know what you mean. Okay? I don't
impacting to maybe, I don't know, Scott. I don't know.
Yeah. Point of order. Just.
You know, when you say something, you are responsible for what you have said.
His point is that he
I don't need someone else to explain to me, no, he was not meaning that. We are not dictionaries. We are human beings.
Exactly. And so in the.
What was the point of that?
Moderators, if you could please take control of the room and get us back on topic. Should Trump resign will that redeem Trump if he resigns? Or do you think Trump is even concerned about redeeming himself? He said he thinks he might be going to hell, but he said it facetiously. So the problem is, I always think that the solution, or really the hates everybody. She hates people. She hates it. I know she's being facetious because I understand what she's saying, meaning that there's a lot of conflict and friction, which is uncomfortable. She wants to live in her little work from home bubble and her $3,000 a month townhouse. But the rest of the world does not live like that. If you go to Gaza, if you go to Iran right now, if you go to Lebanon, it's a hellhole. But that's because people choose violence and weapons and terrorism instead of a real economy. And so all I'm trying to say is, all communication is hypnosis, but it's also projection. It's also politics. It's also spam. It's your choice what you want to listen to today right now. Hello?
They choose to live in suffering is a wild statement.
No, but they actually they do. Do you want to suffer? They're going to be like, no. But if you want to, right now the Iranians, there's a good chunk of them who.
Yeah, I'm just gonna answer the topic because that's what Alistair asked for. And I want to aid Al in his efforts to maintain a clean room. I typed this in chat before I came up. I don't know. I think that it's too far gone for Trump to resign. I think it would be weakness in his legacy, which I know he's very concerned about, for him to be removed or to peacefully leave for whatever reason other than death. I don't know. I don't.
People speak this.
Bro, do you have a problem?
Because you live in the past.
Receptive to listening to you through your accent. I've been patient enough to listen to what you had to say. So I'm gonna continue.
Dave, cool. Favor, just respond when she's done, okay? You can go next, all right?
Yeah. So basically, it's a short point anyway. I just don't think that Trump is interested in redemption. I don't think he ever was in his life, to be honest, maybe from his dad, but certainly not from us lay people. And I don't think that it would be lucrative to his legacy or the intentions for his future generations. I think it would be weak, which he's concerned about looking like in front of anyone. And I think it would further destabilize the position that America currently has. Okay. See you later.
Basically, when we discuss, we can either discuss based on truth. So that's your only chance to win the debate. So when you say that I don't care about anything you do except for civilization destruction, that is the only point I care. I don't care about other things you do. But that is yes, agree that is very important, but your opinion does not represent a lot of freedom-loving Iranian multiple cities in the world, all thanking Trump, come and save us. Okay, they all ignore Trump saying civilization erasure because they know means erasure of the Murad regime based on 1,400 years of civilization that is foreign to the Persian civilization. That foreign civilization must die so that the ancient original Persian civilization will emerge like a phoenix.
Essentially hypnosis. The more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. So essentially, it's all political communication all the time. I'm just trying to suggest that if you want true joy, if you want true peace, just become a lawyer or an attorney, because the law is essentially nonviolent. And that's where I think everybody wants to be. I'm a socialist. I want equity for everybody. I don't want homelessness. I don't want disease. I want equal opportunity for everyone to achieve their dreams and goals and prosper. Abundance economics. Everybody wants the same utopia. But you're the problem. It's people like you who refuse to see philosophy as the solution to all
You can understand. Look, I have the document. Peace. Okay, but then we end up World War II. And then a couple of years later, Winston Churchill wrote his book. When you have a time, opportunity to stop the war, and you say nothing without bloodshed. And then when you have a time to stop the war with some bloodshed, and you say nothing, right? Until when you have absolutely no other option but completely subjugation with little hope of surviving, and then you fight. What Trump is doing right now
Quinnipiac has been 89. Big Data Poll has been 82. Economist YouGov has been 82. CBS News has been 88. This is again amongst Republicans. I don't understand the question.
See, what I think a lot of people are trying to say here on this app, if they believe in the apocalypse or the New World Order or some kind of far-out religious interpretation, because there's a lot of people in cults, let's be honest. I mean, I've seen crazy cult videos, and these are people who, in my opinion, are isolated. They don't have access to information. We're all very lucky. So if anybody knows Trump's personality, and you've even seen the biographic film about him and the 3 rules of his world-famous lawyer, Ray Cohen, you will understand if he implements the 3 rules of Ray Cohen, Trump can't be stopped. He's a bullseye. Nothing stops a bullseye. And so if you hate Trump in your heart, it's my opinion that the orange president and his blonde wig and his blue suit and red tie could be your moment of enlightenment, of liberation. I know many Trump haters that live with pain in their back. They live with pain in their hamstrings, elbow pain, arthritis all around the body. But if you were to use Donald Trump as your path of liberation in the same way that you could use the Buddha or Moses, Donald Trump could be your moment of universal enlightenment. You think I am joking, but I am being absolutely serious. And if you think I'm being a comedian, you should understand the rules of communication, the principles of communication, that all communication is hypnosis, and all communication is magic. All communication is politics. All communication is hypnosis. All communication is projection. And all communication is spam. And it is your choice to listen to me screaming into my phone on a conference call app. It is place right now to listen to me talking to you, you could hit the leave button to listen to me. I am complete. I have landed my plane.
Now do it all again in German.
Yes, please. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Wow, maybe that's what happens if you spend too much time here. I don't know. It's my first time.
Did you leave?
No, I think he's right there.
Oh, there he is. Oh. Kitover, my man. What's going on, buddy?
Balls, Scott. Like, he's tripping balls.
He's the man. That's my man.
Yeah, he's on something out there. He's something.
Being facetious, but I listen to a lot of psychonauts, and Trump just signed this MDMA or this psychonautics. So what I'm trying to say is that basically it's supposed to treat severe depression, and I think there are a lot of severely depressed people on. I think intelligence is probably the natural way to alleviate depression, and that means books. And in my PTR, I have a book, which is the ISIS tablet, which is a hieroglyphic ancient papyrus, or actually it's a copper bust plate. Anyways, it's just art. And so all I'm trying to say is be creative if, your life is retrograde and it's not going so well. The problem with Islam today is that they're still living in 1655 or 1455. It's not 2026 to these people. And that's the danger, because when science and AI catches up with Islamic terrorism, the industrial Islamic terrorism complex, the world has a great philosophy. If you're a woman and you analyze Mohammedan law and you realize you're just property and you're always tied to the hip to the man and you want to be liberated, nah. And that's why women have to endorse the war, because women hold up half the sky, and you should accept personal responsibility for this war if you're a woman. And until I hear you accept personal responsibility, I don't believe a woman has ever accepted personal responsibility for war, because this is a war against philosophy, and the Islamic philosophy is terrorism, sexual dominance, and all kinds of other disgusting Mohammedan laws, which I'm not exactly sure about, because I am not a Muslim. I am complete.
So you just mean the women of the GOP then, right?
Yeah,
Alistair,
women in the GOP.
are you taking a breath? Okay. Why do you feel like that?
Well, Trump is a rapist. So you begin there.
Well, you think he's a rapist, you think he's a pedophile, you think he's a cannibal. What planet do you live on, sir?
Okay.
This guy's like a white up twins. They're gonna do another bump apparently. Jeez,
No, these are things I hear on the app. My brain is like a recording box. I'm repeating back to you the bullshit that I hear projected from this conference call app called Clownhouse, which sells all your data.
why don't we focus on one thing at a time?
Okay, Billy Sunshine, tell us where we're at.
Shut the fuck up and listen for a minute.
Okay, tell us where we're at, Billy Sunshine.
Was it Trump who said grab him by the pussy? You can do that when you're famous. Was it Trump who was found guilty of sexually aggressing on a woman? Had to pay off dozens of women. True or fact? False or true? What do you think? True or fact? Yeah, really sorry.
Well, I went through the Epstein files, and you know who I saw in the Epstein files? I saw Bill Clinton in every single fucking file having a good old time with Jeffrey Epstein. The best fucking time. I didn't see Donald Trump having the best time with Jeff. But I did hear where Trump called the Miami PD to, you gotta take care of this fucking guy. He's a problem.
Wait, you didn't see Trump having a good time with Jeffrey Epstein?
No, I did. I'm being
And like the
facetious.
multiple photos?
I'm being facetious.
Can't tell the truth because they have to.
No, I think he's
He has Trump the
no, he's
Which is not what they call
I
it.
can't even tell.
Trump the racist is whatever follows Trump. If you don't understand that Trump is the worst thing that ever happened to this country, you're not paying attention. It's Trump
Worse than
trying to stop science in the CDC at places like Harvard. It's Trump who allowed Musk and his boys to get in there and destroy USAID, and now 600,000 people have fucking died.
so now
It's Trump who doesn't let the Congress do their job. Everything about America that is good, Trump is attacking. He's our Orban, and we have to treat him the same way.
He's our Orban.
It's Trump whose best friends are all dictators. Our traditional friends. Trump is a disease, and we've caught it, and we need to get rid of it.
Well, see, that's why I say, Billy, Trump could be your moment of enlightenment.
I'll be finished in a second. The idea that
Resign. He would never pull a Nixon. Nixon says he even regretted it. You would regret that decision because then you got Hillary Clinton giggling and laughing that she ruined your life. And if you want to go down that path as a man, you are a stupid man. And so, Billy Sunshine, all I'm saying is that all communication is projection. How much of yourself do you see in Donald Trump, Billy?
too much, I'm afraid. I eat the same way he does.
But I can't get over what you said though. You said Trump is the worst thing that happened to America. Like worse.
And I used to work for a guy that my name was
Billy, what I got a great question for you, Billy.
But you believe that he's a threat to democracy?
absolutely.
Billy, let's just clear this up once and for all, Ben. Billy, if you were the president, oh, go to the mirror and tell yourself that, Ben. Billy, what I'm saying is, if you were the president of the United States of America, Billy, what are your top 3 priorities, Dr. Billy? Thank you.
So Billy, is he really a threat to democracy, or is he only 80% of a threat to democracy?
He's really a threat. He's 100% a threat to democracy.
So, Billy, if you were the president of the United States of America, what would your top 3 priorities be, Dr. Billy?
And he's not interested in listening to the other 2. That's pretty clear, isn't it?
So, do you think that during the next elections, you think that there's a chance that we don't have an election as a direct result of Donald Trump? That's you're saying that
Yes, I believe that Donald Trump is going to find a way to postpone the election. He's going to say, what he's going to do, he's going to have his bully boys come out and kick.
I've got some new Trump derangement syndrome pills.
Shut the fuck up.
It's in the pharmacy section next to the Constitution, and my attorney and lawyer, you should try to take a TDS pill sometime and reread the law because your projection is insane. It's very low IQ. And I don't know what world you live on because lawyers, Supreme Court, Congress, you guys are delusional. You guys are having your own conversation. You're screaming into a conference call. Yeah, that's good for you. which is the leave button. Ladies and gentlemen, and you'll realize that what Scott and El Normo here are doing is they're actually putting on a network TV show on CBS right now with Barry Weiss, and I'm happy to be a part of the production as a co-producer. Success requires excellent content, and good content should bring you the contentment that you're looking for. If you come on here every single day, 8 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours a day, or you record rooms 24 hours, 7 days a week, like me, or Dr. Francine, who's got opinions on everything as well. The point is, the brain can present an incredible variety of opinions on every single topic that there is on this app, which is so exciting. And there are psychological components of anti-Semitism that require these people to hate poetry. They hate life. Life itself they hate. I am complete. I rest my case.
So do you have one of these like episodes per day, or?
Only when I'm live on YouTube creating content. Link is in the chat.
Oh, you are currently creating content.
Currently, right now, for the past 2 hours and 50 minutes, this is all being sent to Barry Weiss at CBS, FYI. It's a new show on Paramount.
Is it a new show, or are you trying to get picked up?
No, it's new. We got it signed 2 weeks ago. Thanks, El Normo, for the contact. Send you your.
What's the premise of the show, Alistair? It's just yelling.
Yeah, it's content. You ever been to a bang room? The hallway in Clubhouse, hit the leave button right now. Go in the hallway and click on any room and just take a little sample. That's called a bang room, baby.
All of the rooms are called bang rooms? I'm having a hard time believing that this was pitched at all. I don't know. Like, who would watch it? And I certainly would never work for Barry. That's crazy. But, I mean, congratulations to you, I guess. Ride the wave while it exists.
Okay, so Xerxes, let me ask you a question. What's your worldview and how do you describe economic philosophy? Again, the question is, what's your worldview and how do you describe economic philosophy? Thank you.
What's my worldview?
What's your worldview? How do you describe economic philosophy?
What is my worldview? So there's a disdain for humanity that I have, but it's just because, oh man, I've had so many examples of better humans than the ones that just collectively exist for the most part. It's kind of trash. And what was your second question? Economic what? Hey, Alistair. Economic what?
All right, the next question is, what was the last book you read? With the monster.
Well, I think I associate with both. I think my tenacity and drive is being thirst driven with goals to like a crippling degree at times is something that's like pretty prevalent in my life. But I guess like because of my stature, I identify with the monster. At least in my younger years, because there's a lot of othering that happens to people who are like atypical. So like I'm like a giant, I'm like a tall woman, right? And there are linear threads. What? Nobody else is fucking talking. You want me to be succinct because you want to like yell again?
So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to prove a point that there is a 100% correlation between anti-Semites like Xerxes, anti-Semites on this app. They do not like poetry. They do not read poetry. If you ask them the last book they read, it wasn't a poetry book. There is a 100% correlation between anti-Semites and people that don't read poetry. So if you haven't picked up a poetry, $100. I guess that makes me an anti-Semite. Could you imagine coming to a conference call app to just talk over people like it was a schizophrenic jumble of a bang room? I am now going to show you a quick sample of what Clubhouse is like in what they call the trenches or the ghettos of Clubhouse.
She was I do this and that and it's flattering to her. Other niggas saying shit, she gonna be like, nigga, you weird, nigga. So certain niggas, they like to be objectified by certain men. That's all.
It's definitely by certain men, and it's definitely certain women like to be. The men that flipped it on her, because I know you can't deal with, you can't then, right? She was making it seem like, and I know you can't then, you say, yeah, right, cool, boy. But she was making it seem like every minute they, right? And because it mad because the niggas flipped it on her, as if they were trying to make her feel bad. Because no one had that same energy. No one had that same energy when she was in here unsollicitedly attacking people. No one attacked her.
Flex. So what I'm trying to point out is poetry is a hell of a lot more interesting than Clubhouse. An audiobook by Alan Watts is so much more fascinating than Clubhouse. So why do people choose to listen to what I would call the trenches hypnosis, the hypnosis of the trenches? Hello? Ever hear of Shakespeare? Ever hear of Edgar Allan Poe? Ever hear?
Because he records everything he live streams rooms all the time. So he probably spends the most time on Clubhouse than anyone in this room.
Oh my god! I got that from the 20 hours a day statement, and I was like, what? How's the time for that? But that's interesting. I guess maybe it'll be fruitful in hindsight for someone.
Yeah, like let's say 10 years from now, you stop working from home and you actually decide to be somebody, right?
I don't work from home, bro.
Sure, it doesn't matter if you don't or not. It's just be the character.
Okay, I'm working.
So 15 years from now, you're a black woman. I'm assuming you're a black woman. That's your character.
I am. Yeah.
You're Kamala. Your hair is Kamala, and you're running for Senate. And Sean has a recording from you from today being an anti-Semite. So I think that's why, yeah. So.
Excuse me, you're on Hidden Camera. That's the show I run. I produce it for Barry Weiss here at the CBS facilities in Hollywood. I submit the tapes, they review it, they edit it. If they want to use it, they use it. But I'm just a content creator here working for Barry, and God bless you all. I hope you have a fruitful and productive day. Thanks for being a part of the production. If you are upset that I record and live stream Clubhouse, well, that's a you problem. That's definitely not a me problem. I am complete.
Complete experience. I mean, it takes a.
So we can digest these here.
Yeah, well, yeah. Creating things would be, something generated from the self, not just like a different form of a React video.
Well, basically, you can boil down life into 4 primary components: cause and effect, and action, and reaction.
Okay. Yeah, I knew something was off the way you were reading that Churchill quote. It was a little weird.
Who reads Churchill verbatim in 2026 has mental health issues? Like, no one.
Well, what's funny about that is, Churchill was very popular even here in America. So to
What is your? I understand you. Hayasi. I understand you. Not you.
لا حبيبتي.
We understand.
لا حبيبتي.
Hey, what's wrong with this guy? This guy is. What is your problem?
Are you a child?
I think this is Giant. This is Alissa. What's wrong with you?
Well, it's clear that Alistair's a child.
This is Giant.
What's interesting is our Lord and Savior said, if you want to be saved, you have to be born again as a child. What does that mean?
There you go.
So the thing about Clubhouse is it is also an ELS platform. English is a second language. If you're looking to improve your English language pronunciation skills, go to pronunciationworkshop.com right now. Are you looking to learn how to speak Native American English? Well, this is your big opportunity. This is a quote from the Native American Wisdom book. It goes a little something like this. My heart is filled with joy. Repeat after me. When I see you here on Clubhouse, as the brooks fill with water, when the snows melt in the spring, and I feel glad, as the ponies are when the fresh grass starts in the beginning of the year. I heard of your coming when I was many sleeps away, and I made but few camps before I met you. I knew that you had come to do good to me and to my people. Moderators, welcome back to Should Trump Resign to Be Redeemed? We haven't heard Scott do a Trump impersonation yet in this exciting room. Scott, take it away!
Please take a break.
I want to get Scott to do a Trump impersonation to give us a new national address so I can clip it and put it on YouTube. Take it away, Scott!
Scott. Please take it away, Scott. Hi, Tati. Got it. Oh, hey, Xerxes. I didn't know I was on stage. You're off mute.
One thing about the demise of Clubhouse. So I'm part of it. I mod in 2 rooms pretty regularly. I don't do pop-up rooms very often, but I mod in like 2 rooms. One's called the Critical Thinking Forum, which is mostly about politics and news. At 5 o'clock every day. Yes, EST. And we've gotten as many as like 1,200, 1,300 people in that room. And we're running for usually less than 2 hours. Our numbers are way down. And then I to a few hundred at the best. And then I mod this with this guy Steve Appel on the weekends. These 2 rooms, Ask Uncle Steve and Ask the Atheist. And again, those rooms we've had as much as 1,000, 1,100 people come through in 3 hours, and we get nowhere near those numbers now. So I think we're in like a multi-stage decline. I think like the first big decline was post-COVID. That's when a lot of people.
That there's a lot longer than.
So you think the premium membership will kind of, there's enough people to sustain it?
I don't see Clubhouse shutting down anytime soon. And I think even without the premium memberships, it wouldn't have shut down. Because I think that we don't have, I don't think we understand how many people use this app across the world. Like they do a good job of siloing us, so we don't understand how big this app actually is. On the US side, it's smaller than it was during the pandemic, but every single tech company overestimated the returns that they get from the pandemic. That's why a long time ago. I don't think it's going to fail to the point where they're going to get rid of the app. Nah.
So by monetize, do you mean like the little coin system, or do you mean like the subscription model that Scott's talking about?
I mean, I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm sorry. It's 10 million weekly active users.
Right. I have. I mean, maybe in the very beginning it was, but
A British app. What does that mean?
I mean, let's stick to the topic. Dr. Francine.
No.
Should Donald Trump resign?
Please.
To be redeemed. Should Trump resign?
Okay.
I mean, from like a Persian point of view, I can just say like the massive big rooms where you see like Persian because you're using it as more like a social app, and it's like, oh, the friends you used to have like 3 years ago are not on it anymore. But it's growing on a political sort of spectrum where now everything going on in Iran, that's how people come together and like, you know, share their views or unify or assimilate. And I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, you also have like big Chinese rooms.
But the thing is, it's like, yeah, most people just see it as like a social app, but I think it's more like somehow it's very political for many people. Why are you giving me thumbs down?
Because you said it's big Chinese rooms.
Yeah, I've seen big Chinese rooms. What's
When
your
is the
problem with
last
that?
time you've seen them, though? Hello?
Well, I mean, I think there's too many black rooms at the moment. Like, I stay away from those. Because it's like they're always discussing, like, women's hair and, like, how many people did you sleep with or crash outs and stuff. That I don't find that particularly, like, or, like, I'm not really interested in
Well,
that.
I don't know. As someone who's... Hey, ma'am, do you know how to set the fuck up? What's going on? Seriously.
That's what I'm saying.
You're speaking and going to review. You're speaking and going... Like, what are you doing right now?
Shut up.
You're talking during people's submission.
If she was talking, you interrupted her.
No, I'm going to respond.
She was talking first.
Said a lot, stupid. So...
I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass.
As someone who agrees...
Meet me outside.
How about that? I think that only an ignorant person would say they're all about it. Even though I think it's too many black women, they're not all about the same shit. They're about everything. Before that, I was in the...
What did you learn?
That was about baseball. Well,
How much money did you learn to
what
make?
is that? It's a room. Then before that, I left a black room about baseball.
What you
Before
learn
that,
there?
there was a black room about geopolitics. I do agree with
I like to teach people and tell people what I mean without being mean. I think it's important that we use this app to tell people what we mean without being mean. And I am a supermodel. I do work on TV. I'm highly desired in the industry. And everybody wants to be like me because I'm beautiful. And not many people understand the point of what this app is. It's not to criticize, it's to read poetry. That's the great point. Just read some poetry. Your life might be a lot better if you try to be like a supermodel like me. A supermodel who reads great poetry and reads great books all day for CBS with Barry Weiss and makes $1 million a year as a supermodel. You're a stupid ass dumbass. Stop calling.
And they talk about, I mean, it just depends. They are topics that are largely centered around the African diaspora, but it's like more nuanced than just like typical gender war bullshit, which is the thing that me around them because I can't really do gender war stuff with people who like don't love themselves, which seems to be a large percentage of people on Clubhouse. So, but yeah, and then other than that, like because I've only been in Clubhouse for like 6 months or something like that.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I was
newbie.
Yeah, I was in for the golden age. I came in during some of my best friends in the world. Yeah, I'm really. I'm kind of moving around. I'm moving back. I'm moving back. I have all my stuff with me. A friend of mine from class. She's coming out.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I have a friend from LA who I've stayed at his house. I've met up with. So I mean, there was a camaraderie back then.
Mr. Trump, are you friends with Jeffrey or just collecting compliments?
I think different
Everyone in here is wearing the same
connections, different sections, different Discord, and a couple of others, and like they all have their own behaviors. Clubhouse is more so like a mixture of people who are either like kids of the internet.
regret that, Your Honor. Answer my question, Mr. Trump. Did you join the Mile High Club with a gray Amanda the other day?
But it's not.
Answer my question, Mr. Trump. Answer my question, Mr. Trump.
One of the things I like best about Clubhouse.
Ask you one final question before I let you go. We've talked about it time and time again on Chicago Report, the Dean takeovers. A lot of people seem to pass the buck when it comes to this topic. They say, social media is to blame. We rarely hear that people.
Would you call that politics?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. What did you say?
I said, would you call that politics?
It could be. Politics.
Roger Scruton's History of Modern Philosophy. So I will tell you what Scruton says to this question. What is philosophy? He's a British guy, so I appreciate this syntax. What is philosophy? There is no simple answer to this question. Indeed, it is in one respect the main question of philosophy, whose history is a personal search for its own definition. Nevertheless, a kind of answer can be given in terms that explain what follows. Philosophy involves the attempt to formulate and also to answer certain questions. These questions are distinguished by their abstract and ultimate category. It abstracts things, right? I mean, abstraction, you're asking, the part from the whole. and ultimacy, right? It's that angel left. It's asking ultimate questions, right, about the true, the good, the beautiful. Abstract and ultimate.
Well, I think the most important question is basically what's in the books, meaning that an actuarial scientist, an accountant, a financial analyst can actually give us the more accurate picture of the situation. And then we should base the conversation based off of what's in the books, unless you think through your revolutionary politic, for some reason, somehow, you can get around the bank's ledger. It's not going to happen. So, hello?
See, I think like what's interesting about Gordon's definition is the abstract and ultimacy. He fleshes that out because I do think you can love. I mean, I know that philosophy, or the etymology is love of wisdom. It's part of my answer that way. But on some level, you could love wisdom and not be that philosophical, right? You could define wisdom in a way that doesn't prefer the kind of abstract critical reflection that at least philosophy in the West does. I'm leaning on kind of a Western definition. If we looked at Eastern philosophy, that might be, it just would be a different conversation. Yeah.
Well, I talked to my attorney the other day while I'm preparing for an upcoming case, and she said, "What do you do all day long, John?" And if you're an anti-Semite, there's a 100% confirmation and correlation that you hate poetry. And you don't read poetry. And you will never read poetry. Pick up a book and prove it!
That is not true because I
Well, what I'm trying to point out is that there are four great powers in reality or principles. It's cause and effect, or art. Those are the four words that I like to think about, which is art and critic or cause and effect, meaning that when I get into conflict or confrontations with people, because I will admit that I'm intentionally obnoxious to try to create some type of different medium of exchange, meaning that when Borat first came out and you saw Borat, people thought it was so funny because this guy pranked everybody in the movie to think he was some Eastern European reporter from Kazakhstan. So that's kind of what I like to think that I'm doing in my art medium. And thank you for participating. Hello?
want to come back to anti-Semitism for a minute. It's interesting. dovetailing with the kind of anti-Semitism on the progressive left. I find that really intriguing.
And what kind is that?
Wait, their brand, wait, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, their brand of anti-Semitism? What's going on here? So is it anyone who has any critiques? Anyone who's an isolationist? Anyone who's MAGA, truly MAGA, anyone who's America First, they're anti-Semitic because they don't want to just open their cheeks and let Israel do whatever the fuck it wants all the time. With our bodies and our American... It's our soldiers getting sent over there, and it's our taxpayer dollars.
No. But it morphs into... Well, I mean, it's different, but it does... I mean, it morphs into, like, Tucker being supersessionist...
he's always been that.
So.
Do you want to tag me in, Scott?
I don't think that Tucker's anti-Semitism. I don't think he's always been supersessionist. I mean, he also didn't always talk this theologically, and now he's really doing like traditional anti-Semitic Christian replacement theory, right? So it's not just criticism of Jews. So it's intriguing to me that he's...
I'll ask you one final question before I let you go. Ben
wanted to take a baton.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's deconstructionism. Like, if you're talking about what is the similar strand of anti-Semitism between the Tucker Carlson right and the far left in the United States, it's rooted in deconstructionism. So I think that there are overlaps of... I'm certainly America First in the sense that I want what's best for my country, but I'm also not America only. So Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump have been fighting back and forth for several months. And again, I think Tucker's entire approach is more of the deconstructionist side, and that's why you're seeing him, and then also Marjorie Taylor Greene. You mentioned the three of Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens, but I would say that there's Marjorie Taylor Greene is also there as well. There's a couple of others.
I get the disruption thing, right? And I think it's one of the reasons why Trump has been elected twice, right? Because it's one of the reasons too. I think 2016, a lot of progressives couldn't believe that. I think that no incumbent could have won an election during COVID because people were just so frustrated and so angry about lockdowns and this and that. It's just, whoever, it could have been Obama, it could have been anybody, they would have been voted out. But I do think it's interesting that Tucker Carlson, with the platform he has, and again, I'm not saying be critical of Netanyahu, I think it's awful. But talking about Christian
and tell us why, as American black people, love this guy. Because I'm not just like almost God.
And that basically the church is the true Israel. I mean, that stuff. In both in mainline Protestant circles, and that kind of talk.
A lot of people seem to
take up that cause with this platform.
Chicago, we're free to move again. Like this.
Israel. Chicago, and theologically.
What's your top story tonight?
Disruption.
Chicago, I'm John Kitover, your libertarian. So I think
think it's rooted in deconstruction.
I do think. I mean, look, whatever you think of Trump, right? I mean, I think people wanted disruption and deconstruction, right? And Trump is
So the past couple weeks, I wanted to know, is that strategy that you think has been
deconstructor? Tucker's a deconstructor.
Oh, okay. I thought, yeah, okay.
The point that I'm saying is what separates Tucker, the Tucker strain of the right, and the far left strain from the moderate left and the moderate right. I know people want to say that Trump is a good figure. Versus you can collectively segment. It's not the
So resilient, and their Samsung cell phone's so good. They're the number one competitor and manufacturer even before Apple. None of that could have been achieved without the robotic, mindless slavery. Over 40 million South Americans, South Koreans endlessly picking their fingers.
I think you guys are manufacturing anti-Semites right in front of our faces.
I think what you're saying that even the New Testament doesn't take, right?
Now we gotta go help people customize and save hundreds of Liberty Mutual.
Covenant with Jews is that's you gotta shoot Jews. Yeah, you gotta shoot Jews.
Escalation in the type of language that we're using when people are giving valid critiques. And when people are giving valid critiques and they're still tarred and feathered, it makes all the Alex Jones conspiracy stuff more palatable.
No, it's not more palatable. You're just catching up to the information. The truth is in the Epstein files. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, the two Bills. And you know what? They had a good time with Jeffrey.
When he says, what the fuck, who's that? George Bush doesn't care about black people. Kanye West has gone after every single ethnicity. And at the same time, he's a person who's known to be clinically diagnosed crazy person, right? This person gets, when you look at all of the stereotypes, all of the tropes regarding the small hats, and then you see them flex banning people from countries. When it comes to one person being racist, you can be racist against one group all you want. They're not going to get. Who's banned from a country? Like, that's like where it becomes like, okay, and then it becomes, all right, if you criticize them, you're going to be lumped in with Hitler Youth. So then it becomes, okay, we can't even speak about, yeah. So then it becomes, all right, like, media being super, super powerful, having the right friends in the right places, being very, very strong lobby, being really good at statecraft, controlling countries from inside out. Like, when you look at all the things, are you gonna, like, how are people?
That's a great question, NPC. We've got Abby in the audience, an APAC Democrat lawyer. Come on up, Abby, and tell us what you got, Abby.
You're saying because a group of people they also have a disproportionate, like Nobel Prizes and all this thing. I mean, it's a group that's only 15 million people, and yeah, it has through strategic, through success and other things have been able to be for their interests. I mean, I think that's not a conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't think it's a conspiracy either. But if I repeat what you just say, I get shouted down and called an anti-Semite. I don't think that it's like Asians being good at math. I don't think it's a big conspiracy that Asians are good at math. I think that there's a lot of different reasons why, on average, Asian children are really, really good at math. Okay, but if I say that on average, Jewish people are this, and that.
Wait a second. Do you think it could be because there's over 2 billion Asian people? I think it's because there's over 2 billion Asian people. Because I've asked Asian people, how are there so many engineers that come out of India? And how do 1.1 billion Chinese? There's a lot of engineers. Hello?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk, but I really don't feel like.
No, the positive stereotypes are the.
What you're saying is wrong.
So Jews are overrepresented in media.
What you're saying, overrepresented in the media. If we were, people like you wouldn't be saying the shit you're saying on social media, would you? If we're overrepresented and we control it, then why is it so negative towards us? Please tell me. Explain that one. Why do we have all the problems we have on social media and on the media, and people like you saying the things you're saying if we control it? Explain that. It's illogical, isn't it? Completely illogical.
If you want it to be.
What else do you want to bitch about us? And is it every day that you like to say something? Could you pick on someone else this week? So what else do you want to pick on? What else are you about us bothers you? To target hard number our own money because of shit that's said like this that other people pick up and then they just stuck on a then they
Okay.
Oh, you never heard of DEI education? CRT? It's called CRT, baby. Look it up. It was a problem, and it's
Jewish owners.
So they have Jewish owners?
I can totally get that list for you once I'm done saying what I'm saying. Cool. I think like 30%. The American dream can be. That does mean producing media that maybe represents your stories better. It does mean like, you know, getting involved in the whole fucking machine. I don't know why. Maybe it's because like people do use this demonstrably in conversation to demean Jewish people, but admitting that that's a fact isn't a bad thing, right?
Can I ask Scott something?
Yeah, sure.
Scott, is Jeffrey Lurie a bad guy? Scott,
because
is Jeffrey Lurie a bad guy?
Who's Jeffrey Lurie? I don't know who that is.
He owns the Eagles. Is he a bad guy?
Oh, Jeffrey Lurie. Oh, yeah. No.
He's a good guy. Is Robert Kraft a good guy?
Now we're going to
No, but I wanted to talk about Thursday. So you're talking about media, right? Because I think media is somewhere interesting. Traded corporation. So I actually own part of the New York because I stock at Disney. So let's go through it. These are publicly traded corporations. The owners of these media giants, publicly traded. Lots of people are owners of these companies because they're traded. They're public corporations. Comcast is a public corporation. So how does one ethnicity control it if it's a publicly traded corporation?
Right. So one of the answers
to Disney by examples.
Sure.
Like, why are you forcing us to be in this?
This is like about trying to, it's like kind of law 101, like trying to explain to people, no, FTC, what's a publicly traded company? FTC, I'm smarter than you on this. What's a publicly traded
play these games. No
It's
one
not
said
a game.
all.
It's
You're
logic.
playing games.
It's
You are
basic logic.
communicating dishonesty. Nobody said all. No one said all. No one said
As you
that
said, you
serious.
control media. So I asked what the media is and who the media is
You have
and
to answer
who owns the media and they're publicly traded companies.
So
It's
let's
not giving
guys.
stock in
This is frivolous if nobody's gonna see it.
One at a time. Sorry, I didn't hear you start. One at a time. First, what Abby was
I was just pointing out when they say that Jews control the media and taking that trope, I was taking the trope and explaining that the media, the majority of it, are big publicly traded corporations with institutional investors, all kinds of different individual shareholders, there's a board of directors, and the majority, if we break down the top media companies in the United States, are publicly traded entities. Running.
Let me go, bro. I was gonna
No,
say.
let me finish.
Do well.
So therefore, when you make that comment and you talk about a sometimes there's statements you have to break them down. Break down the word control. Every word that you say, there is an explanation or a definition of it. And that was my point.
Okay, so I'm responding because she just mischaracterized what I said. And I'm not a PC person, so if I said something, first of all, I made a joke that she was controlled by running. What did it mean? No, the only thing I said is that I was breaking down out loud the different coincidences that people have to deal with, and I'm trying to figure out how it is. And I'm trying to ask the room, hey, all of these different things that are lining up, what are people supposed to think?
Okay, so let's go.
Jewish people are overrepresented in the media. That is what I said.
Let me go about the media.
The only thing that I said was that the media, and no one disagreed with me.
Well, what does overrepresented mean to you?
For percentage, based on population, Scott agreed. What do you mean? What does it mean? Why do all these? You know what overrepresented?
Oh my God! I want to know what you know.
Overrepresented based on your population, based on the size of your population. It doesn't matter. Overrepresented ask questions that I'm gonna answer questions that I believe you know the answer to.
Okay, so you're not reading my mind.
You're treating the fact that I pointed out the overrepresentation as a conclusion about what to do. That's the reason why that's getting issues. The reason why you guys get issues is because you're treating my statement at the facts as a conclusion of what you do about it. You're treating my
paranoid racist comment I'm exposing.
Yes. I read a whole entire book on it.
So what's the shame? NPC shame.
My Jewish friends gave me this book.
I don't want to hear about your Jewish friends.